Here are the top stories for today, June 17, 2020. The Transportation Department is set to roll out the second phase of the resumption of public transportation on June 22nd. The House leadership plans to review the delays in the distribution of the DSWD Social Amelioration Program. State prosecutors will set the initial probe on the quarantine breach complaint filed against Senator Koko. And the DOJ prepares to submit the proposed anti-terror bill to President Duterte after completing its review. Good day, I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. The second phase of the resumption of public transport will proceed even if Metro Manila and other parts of the country remain under general community quarantine. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said the Department of Transportation will roll out the second phase of public transport from June 22nd to 30, 2020. This allows all public utility buses, modern public PUVs, and UV Express with limited passenger capacity. Roque, however, said he has to verify whether the DOTR will also allow provincial buses to resume operations. For traditional public utility jeepneys, which are prohibited under GCQ, Roque said the DOTR will facilitate the PUJ modernization program, wherein PUJs will have a seating arrangement that is similar to modern buses instead of the traditional PUJ, where passengers face each other.
Ang sabi ng DOTR, itutuloy po nila yung jeepney modernization at magbibigay po tayo ng tulong para yung mga displaced jeepney operators ay magkaroon o makasapi po dito sa jeepney modernization program.
Malacanang said the government is ready for the resumption of all big-ticket projects under its Build, Build, Build infrastructure program amid the coronavirus disease or 2019 COVID-19 health crisis. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said continuing the implementation of Build, Build, Build would help the country recover from the negative impact of the crisis.
Kasama po sa ating strategiya kung paano tayo babangon sa trahedya ng COVID-19, ang Build, 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 at kasama na po dyan yung mga flagship projects natin. All systems go para sa BBB projects po.
Some of the projects that have resumed are the NLEX Harbor Link, the NLEX SLEX Connector, the Cavite-Laguna Expressway, the Metro Manila Skyway Stage 3 and R1 Bridge Project, the Tarlac-Pangasinan-La Union Expressway Project, and the Subic-Freeport Expressway Project. In Western Visayas, 27 accommodation establishments already received a go signal from the Department of Tourism to operate in Negros Occidental and Bacolod City effective June 15. These are the accommodation establishments that are authorized to operate in Negros Occidental and Bacolod City. Meanwhile, the local government of Malay Aklan is exerting all efforts to trace persons who got in contact with a BFP personnel who tested positive for COVID-19. The female employee stayed in Boracay a day before the results were released. Initial reports show that the infected personnel was among the 29 BFP officials from the Western Visayas Regional Office in Iloilo City who went to the country's most popular beach destination last week. Acting Mayor Frolibar Bautista of Malay said the local government would file cases against the BFP personnel who violated quarantine protocols. Here's a roundup of reports from the provinces as they implement the new protocol set by the national government. Chris Mundo has the story.
Authorities are on full alert to stop the spread of the dreaded coronavirus disease. In southern Leyte, the local government of Libagon has lifted its ECQ status 3 days after it was imposed on June 13. According to Mayor Sabina Ranque, the ECQ was meant to give its local response team enough time to trace town's first 3 COVID-19 patients. She said some of the individuals who might have direct or indirect contact with the patients have already undergone the confirmatory testing and are isolated on designated quarantine facilities. Meanwhile, Eastern Samar Governor Ben Evardone has asked residents outside the region to temporarily suspend plans to return home to prevent the spread of COVID-19 in the province. This as the province logged its first COVID-19 case in Palamrag, Mercedes. The patient is said to be an OFW who returned home. Evardone directed Mayor Edwin Quiminales to place Palamrag on a 24-hour lockdown effective Tuesday to facilitate immediate contact tracing. In Negros Occidental, the provincial government has imposed stricter rules for its residents coming home from the neighboring island of Cebu. Governor Eugenio Jose Lacson said Negrenses coming from Cebu would be allowed to enter the province only through the government-owned Danao port in Escalante City. Cebu City, with 2,810 COVID-19 infections as of June 14, has already surpassed Quezon City as the area with the highest cases in the country. Lacson said it is now too dangerous to accept LSIs from Cebu and the province needs the assistance of the Maritime Industry Authority, Philippine Ports Authority, and Philippine Coast Guard in regulating their arrival. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Chris Crismundo.
Back in Manila, Mayor Isko Moreno announces dine-in protocols as well as the use of pedicabs. According to Yorme, restaurants and eateries in Manila are now allowed to dine in on the condition that only 30% of their capacity would be allowed to dine in. He also reminded business owners to always be on alert as the coronavirus is still around. Mayor Isko also launched a livelihood center where the city hired 100 sewers and 20 master cutters. Manila will also come up with a new pedicab that could be used under the new normal. These new pedicabs could carry up to 3 passengers and has a division that separates the driver and its passengers. The down payment for this pedicab is only 1 peso and the daily payment is at 188 pesos payable in 3 to 5 years. The country posted the highest number of recoveries but reminds the public to still follow all health protocols. The Department of Health on Tuesday reported the highest single-day number of patients at 301, raising the total number of recoveries at 6,552 as several areas across the country relaxed its community quarantine measures. More establishments are expected to resume business, including the food and beverage industry. Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere advised the public to remain vigilant and exercise all preventive measures against the virus. Meanwhile, Malacanang said the Philippines is making significant strides in the fight against COVID-19. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said the quarantine measures implemented by the national government are effective in combating COVID-19 as COVID-19 doubling cases has slowed down in the last 10 days. Philippine National Police Chief General Archie Gamboa on Tuesday ordered the formation of a team who will cater to the psychological needs of their colleagues who might be experiencing quarantine fatigue or burnout. This is to sufficiently address the anticipated effects of the COVID-19 pandemic to the physical and mental health of PNP personnel. Among the effects of quarantine fatigue is the tendency to be complacent or negligent of the basic health safety rules, regular hand washing, wearing face masks, and observing physical distancing. For policemen and soldiers manning the checkpoints, Gamboa said, quarantine burnout may lead to being lax in the implementation of quarantine rules. The 2020 annual physical examination for police personnel will resume in the month of July. Still to come, the House leadership plans to review the delays in the distribution of the DSWD's Social Amelioration Program. State prosecutors will set the initial probe on the quarantine breach complaint filed against Senator Koko Pimentel. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Alamin ang tamang paraan ng pag-ubo upang mapigilan ang paglaganap ng Coronavirus Disease 2019. Ugaliing magdala ng panyo o tissue. Kung uubo o babahing, takpan ang buong ilong at bibig gamit ang panyo o tissue. Kung walang dalang panyo o tissue, maaaring gamitin ang braso na pantakip. Kung nakararamdam na kailangan umubo o bumahing, agad na dumistansya sa mga tao sa paligid. Huwag dumura kung saan-saan, gumamit ng tissue at itapon sa basurahan. Ugaliin ang paghuhugas ng kamay at paggamit ng alcohol o hand sanitizer upang mamatay ang mikrobyo. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
You're still watching the PNA Newsroom. Senator Christopher Lawrence Bongo on Tuesday urged concerned government agencies to look into the plight of thousands of displaced workers in the live events industry whose livelihoods are severely affected by the pandemic. The live events industry consists of events such as meetings, conferencing, exhibitions, concerts involving international and local artists, theatrical productions, corporate, social, cultural, fashion, sporting and club events, weddings and family celebrations, trade fairs and exhibits, and on-ground activation and sampling activities. Go urged concerned government agencies such as DTI and DOLE to look into the situation of these displaced workers and ensure that there are programs that can assist them in overcoming the burden caused by the ongoing crisis. More than 4 million families would be prioritized in the distribution of the second tranche of the Government Social Amelioration Program or SAP. In a Laging Handa briefing, DILG Undersecretary Jonathan Malaya said they have identified the heads of the families that are waitlisted and were left out from the first tranche of the Emergency Subsidy Program.
Through our coordination with the DSWD, ay nakalap na po natin yung numero at pangalan ng mga head of the household na mga waitlisted at mga left out families sa buong bansa. At sa huli pong datos na ibinigay sa amin ng mga local government units, nasa 4.2 billion na po itong numero ng mga pamilyang ito.
The second batch of SAP distribution is expected to be finished by June 23. Cash aid will be distributed either through the manual or electronic methods. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives is seeking a congressional inquiry into the delays in SAP distribution. Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano and other House leaders filed on Monday House Resolution 973 to investigate, review, and assess the implementation of SAP as part of the government's coronavirus response. Cayetano said the initially prescribed procedure of the DSWD for the distribution of the SAP benefits was lengthy and complicated, which required a total of 30 steps and 5 layers of approval with an estimated completion time of 3 weeks. Cayetano also pointed out that another point of delay is the requirement to fill out a social amelioration card form, which was too long, tedious, and intimidating to accomplish. The lengthy procedure includes layers of validation of the SAC forms. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque meanwhile assured that the distribution of the SAP second tranche through an automated disbursement would be completed within 2 days. The DSWD continues distributing cash aid to displaced residents of Marawi City, even as local authorities tighten health protocols amid the continued spread of COVID-19. More on this from Christine Lin Viajante.
Implementing health protocols in the fight against the coronavirus disease, the Department of Social Welfare and Development rolls out its second round of distribution of the 14,400 peso transitory family support package to displaced families of the most affected area in Marawi City. With the help of the 82nd Infantry and 12th CMO Battalion of the Philippine Army, the authorities provided ample security to assure that the minimum health requirements are observed by people entering the venue.
Ginawa natin, dinivide natin yung beneficiaries accordingly, equally as much as possible doon sa target natin per day. So kung sino lang yung nasa listahan on the said day na schedule, yun lang yung makakapasok. Pagpasok, meron tayong sinusunod na social distancing sa entrance pa lang. Nandyan ang ating mga military to control the crowd. Nandyan yung ating thermal scanning, nandyan din yung hand washing. And of course, yung wearing of face mask. Kung walang face mask yung ating mga kababayan, meron pong nakahanda ang DSWD na i-provide sa kanila.
Complying the health protocols didn't hinder Jamila from receiving the cash assistance that she much needed for her small business.
Talagang nagpapasalamat ako sa DSWD at saka sa task force kasi yung first na binigay nila, naging yung puhunan ko para magkaroon ako ng mini grocery, and then ito na naman another additional.
Furthermore, DSWD explained that this cash assistance is an addition of the 73,000 pesos that the department distributed to IDPs of the most affected area before the pandemic. So far, there were 620 out of 70,905 displaced families who already received their cash aid as DSWD continues to hand over the assistance in the coming days.
Sa ngalan po ng ating secretary, si Secretary Bautista, and ang aming regional director, si Director Mariflor Doliaga Libang, we continue to serve the Marawi IDPs for as long as we can without compromising the health issues. Lagi nating kasama dito, of course, ang Task Force Bangon Marawi, ang Armed Forces of the Philippines, ang local government ng Marawi din. Nandito rin, sumusuporta natin ang mga city social welfare officers din.
For PNA Newsroom, Christine Lin Viajante of PIA Iligan City Information Center.
More overseas Filipino workers have been repatriated as the government intensifies its efforts of providing assistance, especially to those who are displaced by COVID-19. The Department of Foreign Affairs on Tuesday welcomed 665 overseas Filipino workers aboard 2 separate flights at the Clark International Airport in Pampanga. The repatriates arrived via Philippine Airlines. The first flight landed at 11:30 a.m. with 347 seafarers on board from Barbados, while the second flight arrived at 3:45 p.m. with 318 stranded Filipinos from the United Arab Emirates. The passengers underwent thermal scanning and RT-PCR testing upon arrival before they were transported to the designated quarantine facilities. More than 2,000 overseas Filipinos from Lebanon, the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Barbados, Germany, and the Netherlands have already arrived on Monday. Meanwhile, the Department of Labor and Employment, or DOLE, says over 1,000 OFWs from the Middle East are now in the country. The OFWs arrived in 3 batches via chartered flights from Saudi Arabia, Lebanon, and the United Arab Emirates on Monday. They were brought to quarantine facilities while awaiting their COVID-19 test results. COVID-19-free OFWs will be transported to their final destination provinces in coordination with the local government units. The number of COVID-19 cases among Filipinos abroad has ballooned to 6,021 as of Tuesday. San Miguel Corporation Chairman Eduardo Dandong Cojuangco has died at 85. San Miguel President Ramon Ang said in a text message Wednesday that Cojuangco died on Tuesday. Cojuangco was an ally of then Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos. Dandong was born in Manila on June 10, 1935 to a powerful family in Tarlac Province. He cemented his ties to Marcos in 1965 and became a part of the strongman's inner circle. In 1998, he regained chairmanship at San Miguel Corporation and elevated it into the Philippines' largest food and drink company. Malacanang on Wednesday expressed its condolences to the Cojuangco family. In a statement, presidential spokesperson Harry Roque hailed Cojuangco as a reliable partner in the government's fight to stop the spread of COVID-19. Malacanang says Rappler Chief Executive Officer Maria Ressa can apply for probation over her cyber libel conviction to avoid imprisonment. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said Ressa need not end up in prison following her conviction. Roque said Ressa would lose the privilege of skipping the actual jail time should she choose to make an appeal. Manila Regional Trial Court Branch 46 Judge Reynelda Estacio Montesa convicted Ressa and former research writer Reynaldo Santos Jr. of cyber libel and sentenced them to imprisonment ranging from 6 months and 1 day to 6 years. The decision against Ressa and Santos stemmed from the 2017 cyber libel suit lodged by businessman Wilfred Keng. Rappler published the May 29, 2012 article accusing Keng of lending his sports utility vehicle to then Chief Justice Renato Corona, who at the time was facing an impeachment complaint. State prosecutors rescheduled indefinitely the preliminary investigation originally set on Thursday of the case filed against Senator Koko over his alleged violation of enhanced community quarantine protocols. Prosecutor General Benedicto Malcontento said they had ordered the complainant lawyer Rico Quicho to comply with procedural requirements such as submission of original complaints and attachments. He added that the order was mailed to Quicho last week and was given 10 days to comply. In April, Quicho filed a complaint against Pimentel for alleged violation of Republic Act 11332 or the Mandatory Reporting of Notifiable Diseases and Health Events of Public Health Concern Act. In March, the Makati Medical Center said Pimentel breached its protocols when he went to the hospital with his wife, who was to give birth through cesarean section despite being tested positive for COVID-19. The National Economic and Development Authority, or Neda, says more innovative and flexible learning programs are needed to respond to the challenges of preserving and creating jobs amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Acting Socio-Economic Planning Secretary Carl Kendrick Chua said workers need to adapt to the changes in business operations brought about by the pandemic. Online or blended learning programs will now play a key role in providing opportunities, especially for those whose livelihoods have been affected by the pandemic. Chua cited the TESTA online program launched in 2012 to serve as an open educational resource that will make technical education more accessible to Filipinos. Chua also underscored the importance of digital transformation, particularly in government offices. He said there is a need to have competition policies that will encourage the private sector to help improve the country's information technology infrastructure. Up next, the DOJ prepares to submit the proposed anti-terror bill to President Duterte after completing its review. And Catbalogan City sets aside tradition as it celebrates its 13th charter anniversary amid the COVID-19 pandemic. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
Tandaan ang tamang paraan ng paghuhugas at paglilinis ng kamay upang makaiwas sa iba't ibang karamdaman. Basain ng tubig ang mga kamay at sabunin. Unang sabunin ang mga palad at ang likod ng mga kamay. Kuskusin na maigi ang pagitan ng mga daliri at maging ang mga kuko. Isunod ang pagitan ng mga hinlalaki at kuskusin ng paikot ang mga dulo ng mga daliri sa magkabilang palad. Banlawang mabuti ang mga kamay sa malinis na tubig at patuyuin ang mga kamay gamit ang single-use towel o air dryer. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
The Department of Justice has completed its review of the proposed anti-terror bill amid added expressions of support by local chief executives in the country. Here is our report from Marita Moaje.
Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara on Tuesday said the Department of Justice has completed its review of the enrolled version of the anti-terrorism bill and will submit it to the Office of the President. Guevara said he is confident that President Rodrigo Duterte will wait for and consider not only the comments of the DOJ but also those of other government agencies whose comments were requested by the Office of the Executive Secretary. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque also assured that President Duterte will thoroughly review the anti-terrorism bill to ensure that it complies with the 1987 Constitution. He said a total of 784 local chief executives have expressed support for the bill that is meant to beef up the country's law against terrorism. Roque said Duterte is inclined to sign the bill into law. For her part, Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte said Tuesday the passage of the Anti-Terrorism Act of 2020 will nurture a culture of security in the country. In a statement, Duterte said Davao City is reminded of its history that has been marred by terrorist acts, which remain a reality even as the country faced a deadly pandemic. She urged the public to be vigilant and to do its part in establishing and nurturing a culture of security in the community. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Marita Moaje.
The Provincial Agriculture Office in Negros Oriental has warned against eating shellfish from Tambobo Bay in Siaton Town due to red tide. On Monday, a team from the PAO did a red tide monitoring on the density of red tide causing dinoflagellates in the area. Sampling results showed that this particular dinoflagellate has spread across the entire Tambobo Bay at very significant cell counts. Contaminated shellfish can lead to human illnesses such as paralytic shellfish poisoning. The PAO has advised the local chief executive in Siaton against collecting and eating shellfish at Tambobo Bay until the red tide event has subsided. In our 4 news, the International Atomic Energy Agency has announced the launch of a global initiative using nuclear and nuclear-derived techniques to make the world better prepared for future outbreaks of diseases. The Zoonotic Disease Integrated Action Project, or Zodiac, will establish a global network of laboratories that can monitor, detect, and control emerging and re-emerging zoonotic diseases such as COVID-19, Ebola, avian influenza, and Zika. IAEA Director General Rafael Mariano Grossi said COVID-19 had exposed problems related to virus detection capabilities in many countries, as well as a need for better communication between health institutions around the world. The initiative will allow member states to have access to equipment, technology packages, expertise, guidance, and training so that decision makers can act up-to-date, user-friendly information. In sports, the Philippine Basketball Association suspended and fined TNT assistant foreign coach Bob Baldwin for statements aired in a podcast last week. Commissioner Willie Marshall handed Baldwin a 3-game ban plus a 75,000 peso fine for what he said in the coach's unfiltered podcast about the format of the PBA Commissioners and Governors Cups. Baldwin criticized the current format of both conferences in which the teams can sign up 1 foreign player each, as well as his comparison of referee calls for fouls between a local player and an import. He also drew the ire of local coaches after saying that they still have tactical immaturity compared to other basketball nations. Baldwin apologized but later said everything that he said in the podcast was taken out of context. He will serve his suspension in the first 3 games of the Katropas campaign. The Catbalogan city government has set aside traditional charter anniversary activities on Tuesday as it concentrated on efforts to fight COVID-19. In his message for the city's 13th charter anniversary, Mayor Dexter Uy said all activities in the city are geared towards ending the health crisis that has disrupted the city in the past 3 months. The city has 9 confirmed COVID-19 cases, including 1 recovery and 0 deaths. The local government has conducted relief operations since the start of the quarantine in March and distributed health kits to more than 32,000 families. Catbalogan City was founded in October 1596. On March 15, 2007, Catbalogan attained its cityhood by virtue of Republic Act 9391. Its residents overwhelmingly ratified its cityhood through a plebiscite on June 16, 2007. Here's another look at today's biggest stories. The Transportation Department is set to roll out the second phase of the resumption of public transportation on June 22nd. The House leadership plans to review the delays in the distribution of the DSWD Social Amelioration Program. State prosecutors reset the initial probe on the quarantine breach complaint filed against Senator Koko. And the DOJ prepares to submit the proposed anti-terror bill to President Duterte after completing its review. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. To check out more news content, visit our webpage or head onto the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also, watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, I am William Theo. Good day and stay safe, everyone.